Welcome back everybody, Tutor UK here, and this is Hatchy release version 2.12. So we have a new release of Hatchy. Not a massive jump, but some very nice additions and amendments, and just makes the whole process slicker, obviously, and it incorporates RetroArch seamlessly into the mix. So them that have followed a few of my videos, watched a few of my videos, will know the sort of format. I'll talk you through it. You know, it's not going to be a wham bam thank you ma'am type video, because obviously I know that some people, you know, just need that little bit of extra description and help. So hopefully some people find this one useful as well. And as per usual, if you know anybody's got any issues or concerns, or you know they're not sure about anything, just drop me a PM or leave a message and we'll see if we can help you out. So yeah, not really a great deal to add other than let's get on with it and let's see what Hakchi 2.12 does for us. So again, head over to the GBA Temp forum. Links to all of this stuff will be down below anyway, just in case, but you can see it all here on screen. So the new release version here from Cluster, the man, along with MadMonkey, so I think those two have been in collabs, doing a lot of work to Hatchy. So 2.12, you know, here's some of the features. I'm not going to read them all out. You can all read. I'm sure you're all pretty much capable of that. Some nice little additions. Like I said, a Game Genie support's quite cool, and unsupported games, etc. And obviously has the ability now to run the RetroArch games from the NES Mini front end. Again, we'll come to that when we get there. But it's pretty neat. Like I say, it just tidies up them few loose ends. So you know, in terms of this link here, this will drop you up to the sort of GitHub release page. There's a bit more description here from Cluster, just around what it does, you know, and some explanation of what they've been up to and who's done what, etc. So there's a few points here. You need to put user mods into user mods folder, install and via the menu. So although it sounds like it's dead easy, this little bit here, the install and uninstall, it was a little bit sort of, I'm thinking, oh, I don't know if that worked, but like I say, we'll step through that anyway. Downloadable mod here, RetroArch Clover releases. So this is the RetroArch plugin. So he hasn't included it. Sorry, he has included it as part of the build, but the front end to run RetroArch separate is there, and obviously, like I say, the actual RetroArch itself is packaged if you come further down. So it's here. So this is the main one you want, which is Hatchy 2. Don't worry about these are all devy type stuff. So you get yourself Hatchy 2. Again, I'm not going to tell you guys how to do this. This is all pretty self-explanatory. Or if you're not sure, go back and see what one of my previous vids say. Those steps are still exactly the same. You know, right click or click on it. It'll pop up down the bottom here. Do you want to save it? So what we do, what I tend to do is I create on my desktop, you know, a dedicated folder, and I've called it Hatchy 2.12. Again, I just keep everything together. I start afresh to a certain degree, and again, I'll come to that in a minute. But generally, new folder. I don't overwrite anything. Just keep it all clean, so to speak. So yeah, you've got Hatchy 2 there. You save it. And if we go up to the RetroArch Clover releases, which I've got down here, so I'm not going to reopen that page. This gives you the RetroArch mod for Hatchy. Again, it explains it all there. So this part here is interesting. You can install Clover app to add RetroArch shortcut to the NES Mini's menu. So this allows you to actually go into RetroArch as the application. Again, I'll show you how to add that just in case. But for most people, you probably won't want that. All you're interested in, you know, I'm pretty sure, is just, can I run a Super Nintendo game from the front menu? Yes, you can. Included N64, so there's an N64 plugin. I haven't tried that, so we'll do that one together. Obviously, all the rest of them are pretty self-explanatory as to what they do, and again, they sort of pre-existed, if you like, on the previous video. There's obviously some known issues. Again, you can read that. N64 save states aren't working quite correctly. There's no filters, and that's quite interesting. It also recommends you turn your NES Mini off from the shell and not during a game, so always go back to the main menu. Don't know why, maybe just to stop any sort of corruption perhaps. So RetroArch HMod is what you want. So again, self-explanatory. Click that, save as. Again, I save it all to the root in Hakchi 2.12. So you got your RetroArch HMod file and cloverapp.zip. Again, you've seen that here. Cloverapp.zip. Okay, so you've got all your files, and all you want to be doing with Hakchi 2.zip, make sure you've got 7.zip. Again, that's a prereq. Pretty standard fare for my videos. It's always advisable to use 7.zip. Just it retains the sort of file access and folder access that sometimes WinZip and WinRAR can sort of overwrite. So Hakchi 2.zip, extract. Say I created a separate folder called Hakchi 2.12, extract it. Okay, and the same with cloverapp. You see it there, and it's extracted to a folder there. RetroArch HMod didn't need extracting. Okay, so in terms of the actual view of Hatchy, it hasn't changed. You know, it's not changed at all. So if you go into Hatchy 2, fire up Hatchy, you'll get a very familiar looking screen. You've all seen this before. Now, when you first do this, you're not going to have any games, okay? Because obviously the folder structure will be empty. So in terms of Hatchy 2, you'll have games won't exist. You won't have any of these here. So the only thing I'll suggest you probably do, and it is worth doing, can get a little bit, you know, tricky if you're not used to it. If you find your old Hatchy folder, I should have prepared this earlier. So in this case, mine was RetroArch NES Mini. So that was a previous one that I did. So within your again, if you've already got your list of ROMs, this is a way to do it. If you haven't got your ROMs, then you obviously just need to add more games. So you add more games, and you pick your ROMs again. Support zip files, etc. If you've already got all your ROMs, so if you've already got a list of, you know, games from previous versions of Hatchy, which I'm guessing probably most of you have already. So essentially, go to Hatchy 2, and in games, you'll have your whole folder. So all you need to do is copy those folders. So, you know, click at the top, Control A. Well, I would say if you did the RetroArch mod from the previous video, see this one here, RetroArch, I would Control plus and just take that one out. Okay, so there's two ways you can do it. You can click there and then shift and scroll down to the bottom, or if you want to do Control A, then hold the Control key down, which is like a picker key, and then just click on that folder just to take it out. Right click, you copy those. Okay, so you're right clicking, you copy, and then all we're doing, we're going to our Hakchi 2.12 and the games folder, and then you're right clicking and you're pasting in there. So if you've got like the 700 plus ROMs, it's going to take a while to copy them over. Obviously I've created that folder, and I'll show you about that in a minute, because that is purely just to see RetroArch as the application. You may not need that. So that's for those guys that may already have an existing ROM set or game set with all the custom artwork, etc. Those that are doing this for the first time, ignore that bit. All you want to be doing is going add more games, and then you're picking your list of games. So like I say, because it supports zip files, you just go to your directory, now wherever that may be. So if you're using Asylum's NES ROM set, you go into ROM set, into Europe, and you Control A and you do open, and that will add the ROMs in. The good thing about that, actually, if you have previously done it, and if you redo it, what it will do, all those ones that were coming up with errors for mappers, you should be able to add them in and they should play. So it may be worth doing for those people that already have a pre-existing set as well, because it will just tidy up, it will just enable those non-working, non-functioning games to actually work again. What I'm going to show you here, so I'm just keeping this dead basic as I can, just to get people working without overloading people too much with information. So you've added in all your ROMs because we've copied the folders over. Yeah, Hatchy 2. So you've got all your games in there. Okay. So then if with this new version of Hatchy 2.12, because it's a new one, if you try to do anything, it's going to ask you to dump the kernel. So again, if you go back to your pre-existing folder, Hatchy 2, so again, my case was the RetroArch beta. If you just copy the dump folder, because that includes your kernel, right? So it needs that. You just copy that into the root of Hatchy. So where you've got art, you'll probably see you haven't got a dump folder. You just right click and paste, and it will just paste the dump folder in. That way Hatchy won't ask you to redump the kernel, because you don't need to. If you're doing it for the first time, just follow the instructions from Hatchy and allow it to dump the kernel. Right, once you've got the kernel dumped and you've got your folders copied over, you should see something not too dissimilar to this screen. Right, now in terms of getting RetroArch and the mod on there and working, what you want to be doing is going to modules, install extra. Actually, you don't want to be doing that. Ignore me, I'm an idiot. You don't want to be doing that yet because you can't see it. Right, to get the modules, so what you would think, actually, which is what I thought it was, it's install extra modules, and you click it, and there's some sort of picker to sort of say add modules. There's not. What you'll probably see is just music_hack. You won't see Clovercon, you won't see FontFix, and you won't see RetroArch. You'll just see music hack. That's what I saw. So a bit of head scratching. What you need to do, or what I needed to do, right, back to here, you've got RetroArch HMod. Okay, so you right click, you copy that, you go to Hatchy, user mods, and I pasted it into here, as you can see. So what you will probably just have is music hack mod and readme.txt. Ignore that one, that's a folder I copied in. I thought you might be able to put them into subfolders. It appears you can't, so ignore that. Just copy them into here. So again, your Clovercon HMod and your FontFix HMod. So those were under mods. Yeah, I just copied those and dropped them in to user mods, which is why you can sort of see that same folder there. Then once you've got them there, then what you can do, if you go to modules, install extra modules, you can then pick them. Now weirdly for me, when I clicked RetroArch, if you click it, it gives you a rundown of what you can do. You know, put a tick by it, and you can change the music if you wanted to, etc. Now what it did for me, when I clicked OK, it actually wanted to sync these up to the NES Mini straight away before it even added any games or anything, which was quite weird. So I just let it do its thing, thinking, okay, it's installing it. But when I went back in, and as you can see, when I go back in this time, it doesn't recognize that I've already done it. So it may just be a one-off. You might just have to do it once, and you have to keep a mental note of the fact that you've added whatever module you've added to it. So I installed RetroArch, and I think I put FontFix on there. I didn't use this, so this is no, actually I think I did put Clovercon on there, because I just thought, well, I'll stick it on anyway. It includes custom Clovercon gamepad driver features. You can see what it says there, right? Yeah, you can see all that. So the only one I didn't do, sorry, was the music hack, because I quite like the music. So that's that bit. So that puts that on there. You'll probably see it will ask you to sync. The syncing is exactly the same. You know, hold reset, press the power, let it do its thing. Okay, so now you kind of got the NES Mini to a sort of flashable state. It's probably the best way to describe it. So how do we add in these SNES ROMs, these N64, these Mega Drive, whatever you want? So the way to, again, other than the blatantly obvious, which you can see as per usual, you click the ROMs that you want and you add them in. If, for example, you wanted to add more games, what I'm going to do is go to a folder that I created within Hakchi 2.11, which is called ROMs. Your ROM files may be anywhere, Okay, I'm not going to tell you where to put them. I've just done this just to keep it, you know, very streamlined and dead basic. So here you can see a list of ROMs. So some of these are Mega Drive, some are Super Nintendo or SNES, some are Nintendo, NES, and there's one or two, he says. Where did it put that? I did have Super Mario 64 somewhere. I should have to try and find that. I'm not sure where it's dropped that one. But yeah, so you have your list of ROMs here, essentially. Now, what I thought, because I had a lot of these extracted already, it doesn't recognise them. You have to keep them as .zip. So, for example, if we wanted to add in Pocky and Rocky 2, okay, we're going to add Pocky and Rocky 2 to the list. You click open. What it does, it recognises it's a obviously Super NES, SNES cart, puts it there. You can Google as per usual, gives you the artwork. You double click, we'll have that. So that's Pocky and Rocky 2 added in. What you'll notice, and as an aside, I did mention at the top, a few people have talked about this, is the Game Genie. There's no codes for the anything else that runs in RetroArch, but within the NES games, so for example, Parasol Stars 2, Bubble Bobble 3, this window here, and it's a cracking little idea. It pops out, and there's none in that one. Let's see if we can find some. It's got. There you go. Right. So say if you wanted Panic Restaurant, you can put a tick next to it to say, right, I want to add that to my NES Mini. In the Game Genie code, you press a plus, and there is already a list of built-in cheats. So you just tick against which one you want, and OK it. Obviously, you can add and import additional ones if you find additional codes. The one thing with this option, though, it's great to have it. There's no way to switch it on the fly with the game. So you tick it and it's on permanently. You can't turn it off within the game. So if you want to take them off, you'd have to reflash it and remove them. Okay. So we've added in Pocky and Rocky, Mario Kart 64. There we go. It was in plain sight all along. Open it. It adds it up here. It recognises it's an N64. You can tell by the cart. We Google and we pick the box art. There we go. That is pretty much it. You hit synchronize to selected games in NES Mini. Again, the same method, and away it goes. So we're going to do that now. Then obviously we're going to hop out old school guerrilla style and point the camera at the screen and just show you what Hatchy looks like. So that's it in a nutshell. A few little sort of quirks, if you like, not quirks, but a few little amendments within the settings. You can see this, you know, again, you can all go through these yourself. Disable epilepsy protection. Page fold instructions is new, so this is quite an extensive addition. Obviously, look, you guys can sort this however you want. You know, it's very customizable. What I would say though is maximum games per folder is default to 30. With the original 30 added on, you'll find that it then subsequently creates the subfolders again. So I don't know if again, I wouldn't go mad and start increasing to 100 and stuff, because I think you're going to run into some problems. But I think around 40 is probably a little bit better. Again, I always include the original 30 just for continuity purposes. And then the last thing that I forgot to mention is RetroArch itself as an application. Right, so you can see RetroArch there. So this, again, as per the previous video, you know, with the sort of beta version of this, you had to go into RetroArch to launch the games. Obviously, what Cluster and MadMonkey have done now is stick a front end onto it, so it calls RetroArch from the back end, so you don't see it. If for whatever reason you wanted to go into RetroArch and tinker and run stuff within there, the way you add that into that is a little bit more cumbersome. So for those that aren't interested, ignore this bit. Thanks for watching. You know, obviously like, comment, subscribe and share, and I'll see you on the actual gameplay video. Those that might want to have a tinker or, you know, have a snoop around, the way we get that onto there is basically, I say basically, it's probably not going to be very basic at all. So with Hatchy 2.12, you have a Clover app, like the Clover app folder. So you've got these 3 files here. Now what I did, the way I did this was to copy Clover app, okay, go into Hatchy 2.12, and it needs to be in the games folder. So I pasted Clover app, right click, pasted it, so it comes Clover app. What I then did, I went into Clover app, got this file here, right click, did rename, and it already highlights the front end there, the CLVZR arch. Copied that, go back up a directory to games, got your Clover app, right click, rename, right click, paste, and it renames it to that. I've already got that one there, so I'm not going to do it again because it will say it already exists. That's how I did it. I'm just going to remove that because it's going to cause me problems. But then, yeah, so you'll end up with that there, which will give you this. Okay, then within Hatchy, what you'll find is there'll be an icon that says RetroArch. Again, you can tick that, put the icon on there, and you can go into RetroArch. I haven't done that yet, so we're going to do that. We're going to put an N64 game on there, which is Mario Kart 64. I haven't done any N64 stuff before. There's a couple of SNES games, there's a Mega Drive, and there's a NES. So the unsupported ones, such as, and he says without finding it, it was Gradius 2. Drop that on there. Come on, where is it? Contra Hard Corps for the Genesis Mega Drive. Oh, come on. G for Gradius 2. That's too many games. So Gradius 2, which didn't work, it had a mapper issue. You add it in. And what you find is when you do add one of these in that may have issues, such as, here's one I prepared earlier. So Wow Wow World 2 obviously had a mapper issue. Click open. You'll get this. But it should work if other emulators module is installed. Do you want to add this game? So we say yes, because we have got the other one. Recognizes it as a Famicom. You Google, and you can add in Wow Wow World 2. Yeah, clear as mud. Then all we do then is, I think that's about it. I'm just making sure I haven't missed anything else off that maybe of use to anybody. Same ones again, controller hacks. Select reset button combination, so down and select, what was that, start, down and start. You click OK. Yeah, you can do all the auto fire, so the classic controller X and Y you can use as auto fire. Again, all this is quite similar. You can switch it to the Famicom Mini, so they're all pretty much the same. You've got the modules, download box out for all games in one go. It's just the little tweaks. You know, personally, I think going with the whole RetroArch and stuff is probably too much, which is why it wasn't included as a core part of it. You had to add it in. I think that's quite a nice thing to keep it just as NES stuff, with obviously, you know, all the extra bells and whistles. I think's a good move. So synchronize selected games, hook up your NES, like your NES Mini. I say it's no different, guys, to anything else. You hold your shift in, hold your reset in, press your power, and away it goes. And it just does the same thing. Builds it along, builds it up, and then flashes it. I think that's about it, guys. I'll see you on the flip side, and we'll take a look at some of these games running. Hey YouTube. Okay, so here you can see NES Mini up and running. Gradius 2 front icon. So it's not a great deal's changed. You can see across the bottom there. There's your Mario Kart 64. Scroll along, I say pretty much similar. There's Pocky Rocky 2 front end. There's RetroArch that I spoke about. Secret Mana. So if you have multiple, you know, if you have more than 30, it will spill over and it will create a subfolder. Wow Wow World 2, Wonder Boy. I think I've probably just about managed it. Yeah. What it will do, it will give you a folder sort of about here, and it will have like the names of it, and you drop down again, and it's just another subfolder. But again, just for
purely just for the video purposes, I just increase the number of games per folder so they all fit on one folder. So, you know, in terms of what we've got here, you all know about the original 13 NES titles and stuff. So let's just start with Wow Wow World very quickly. You know, didn't work, had mapper issues. But there we go. So using RetroArch and the improved emulator, it works, it fires up. And obviously you can see that I've used the already the translated version. Yeah. Very quirky, weird game this is. I think really it's very akin to Mario, Super Mario 3. Yeah, one of the later releases I think on it. But yeah, really good little game. Yeah. And what you can do, obviously, if you hit reset, what it will do as well. Now you can save it as well. So the saves work off the back of that. So that's that one. Wonder Boy. Have a quick go at Wonder Boy. Sega Master System. Yeah. I'm not going to spend too long playing these because you can all do that yourselves. Yeah. We'll just get on the skateboard. Yeah, so you get the idea. That all works. And same again as before. So you've already been playing it. Drops you down. So we've done Master System, we've done a previously unsupported NES Famicom title. I was going to pick that. Should we do Chrono Trigger? No, let's do a Mega Drive Genesis title. Yeah, I mean, you know, some people, and I understand it, you know, in terms of running anything other than the NES games and stuff on the Mini, I think it does take some of its charm away. I must admit, I won't be using it for any of the Mega Drive stuff. I'll probably, like I said before in the last vid, I'll be keeping it really as a Nintendo machine. Very impressive game though, this. Yeah, you get the idea. And again, it'll drop you back out. And you put it into save slot. What else do we have? I've already done NES, I'm not going to show Gradius working because it does work. This one I haven't tried, this is the first time for me. N64 stuff. I know N64 emulation isn't, you know, it isn't perfect. Even some PCs apparently struggle to emulate it. These are quite big files. Although you can see, look, it's churning around on. It's not great, is it? I maybe should have picked a smaller. Yeah, it works, but it works very clunkily, look. Hear it? Struggling. But it loads it up. I say it's the first time I've tried it. Yeah, I'm not very impressed with that at all. I think some of the smaller ROMs might be better. I think that's 8.8 meg, so quite a hefty file actually. And then yeah, I'll show you RetroArch, so you can go into the actual application, and you've seen that one before. Again, you can load your different cores, etc. Which again, see the previous video for that, because otherwise this video is going to be massive. But that's how you get into RetroArch if you wanted to. And then last but not least, let's have a look at some Super Nintendo or SNES, and that'll round it off. So yeah, in terms of Hatchy 2.12, I'd probably say it just smooths those edges off in terms of what it can do, tidies it all up a little bit. You know, you do get the added bit with RetroArch if you want it, but if you kept it to the core system just for the NES, no RetroArch, I think it really finishes it off nicely. We'll just quickly have a quick blast on Pocky and Rocky 2. Again, there's probably going to be another iteration of it out where the guys, you know, finalise and improve other bits. So okay, you can see it all. I'm not going to spend too long with this. It shows you everything. Alright guys, let's drop back out of that. You can save it should you want. I think that covers it. There's not a lot else. There are other cores that you can add in if you wanted to, and obviously what it will do, it will stick onto the front end here, because it's very clever like that. But I think you may have to do some funky editing with files. But for the most part, I say this isn't an in-depth teardown of Hatchy 2.12. It's just the basic one to get most people up and running with the core games that they may want. Once again guys, many thanks for all the new subs and the views. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.